So I kept seeing this post going around Pinterest a while back, like a long while back, but I wanted to kind of look at it and eventually get around to kind of redesigning the original Suicide Squad Harley Quinn to be like less male gazy and whatever. So I want to go over all these points a little bit and see what I would do differently because I just watched the new like the Suicide Squad and it was really good. I really liked it. But yeah, this doesn't really have anything to do with that. That's just kind of what reminded me of this idea, I guess. I was just like, oh yeah, there was that other movie that everybody hates. I want to go back to that. So yeah. So there's the ponytails aren't long enough to pull on anymore. Um, I don't really like get like all the nuances of like hair pulling kink and stuff. Like it's gross, obviously. Like kink havers, get some help. I say this as a former kink haver. um, but yeah, I think also aside from them just being long, because long ponytails in themselves aren't like necessarily a fetishy thing, right? I don't know. But they're also just like perfectly curled and whatever. I don't know. I feel like a bit messier would be nice, I guess. The bangs, they're more choppy in Birds of Prey, and they're very like deliberate in Suicide Squad. The bra, yeah, that's an issue. The clothing, it's very like ripped strategically. Like, oh, she's not trying to like show skin, but like it is showing skin, you know. And she's not wearing the freaking dog collar. So yeah, the camera as well, and then like it looks like she dressed herself. And like male fans will say like, oh, we see her get dressed like on screen right in front of everybody, and it's like yeah, but she was written to do that. Like she's not like a real female person who's choosing to do these things. This is like a character written by men who don't know how regular girls dress and just kind of design outfits based on what they, the guys, like in a character design. And this isn't mentioned here, but I noticed also like her shirt says like Daddy's Little Monster on it, and then the back of her jacket I think says Property of Joker, which really like hammers in the fact that like this character is meant to be like an object, you know? So yeah, that's a thing. I would change that a little, so let's get into it. So I just kind of like traced the basic forms of this figure because the pose was nice. You can see the front and the whole design nicely, so I just kind of like scribbled all over that. Um, and yeah, so the ponytails, I also like didn't do the jacket because the jacket is fine, I think. The only thing I would change is what it says on the back, but like you can't see that, so I just took it off because I don't want to draw a whole jacket. And yeah, I think the biggest thing is the shorts. They're just like basically underwear. So I made them like actual shorts. I changed the slogan on her shirt. Not very clever, I know, but like, whatever. It's not about exactly what it says, it's about what it doesn't say. We're removing that whole daddy thing because bleh. Yeah, the ponytails, I changed those because like looking at not this picture on screen that I have here as reference, but like the one in the Tumblr post, her curls are very like it's like one big like ringlet, and in this figure too, I think you can see it is like a big ringlet, and like going back to like the hair pulling idea, it would be like very easy to grab, I think. So I kind of made the ponytails more messy and like more like in strands, and like I gave her like more baby hairs and stuff. They're not that baby because like you can only make the little pen so thin on this drawing thing digitally, so I hope it gets across that they're just like random little strands. Because also, I noticed that the ponytails are like really tight in the photos. Like they're really perfectly styled, so I kind of wanted to make them a little looser, a little like lower on her head. They're not like super loose like in the Suicide Squad. They're like really like down and loose, but like they're still like up here because I want to keep the silhouette of the character design like kind of similar because like the ponytails are iconic. I mean, duh. But they're just not quite as tight and perfect and like curled, I guess. Another thing that kind of gave me a hard time was the shoes. I don't know how to draw shoes. I mean, I do, but I don't know enough about like to put a lot of detail into it, you know. And the shoes she wears in Suicide Squad are like very like heels. They're like very tiny heels, and they're like big boots. Like they're cool, but like there's a whole debate about like shoes, like heels in like fighting movies, like superheroes wearing heels, and it's like it's fantasy, like but like the basic rules of physics still apply, and like it's not super realistic. I think Margot Robbie did do the stunts in the heels though, so it's not like impossible, but I don't know. I gave her like just plain like they're boots, and they're not heels, but they're like tall, I guess. They've got a bit of a platform to them. It's just like considerably more comfortable. Like it is possible to fight in high heels. The actress is like really choreographed and stuff. I don't know if like a spontaneous fight like in a movie would like realistically be able to be fought in high heels, you know? Um, but anyway, I added like some ripped leggings because like fishnets very sexualized. Those are in the original design. So I decided to just give her like sheer black leggings and put like the strategic rips like on the knees because that's like realistically where scrapes would end up because the fabric is thin. If you're like fighting, you're probably like falling on your knees at some point if you get knocked over. Yeah, this was just me like trying to figure out a good pen to write the monster thing in because I want it to look kind of homemade. Um, so yeah, or like not homemade, maybe. I don't know, just kind of like graffiti-ish, I guess. Um, so yeah, and then I have like the leggings kind of sticking up over the shorts to kind of add like a little bit of like sexy, but also like in like a authentic way, I guess. It's just kind of like something I think maybe people wouldn't really think of as like a sexy thing, but like if you see it on somebody and they're just like, yeah, my leggings are showing, what of it? Like, who cares? You're seeing the rest of them on my legs, so like, what's the difference, right? But some people might see that as a little scandalous, but like, it's not a big deal in my opinion. I don't know. It just looks kind of cool. It kind of like, oh, also the belt. I added like actual straps that are keeping the belt up because like that thick belt on top of like basically underwear, that does not look comfy. Very low waisted, and like the weight of the belt would feel really weird, I think. I also replaced the dog collar thing with like a thin like studded choker and just a heck ton of jewelry. She's got like a couple gold chains around her neck as well, and then like a bunch of bracelets. I think she's only wearing a couple bracelets in the actual movie, but I just threw on like a couple on each hand just to like I feel like just a bunch of jewelry is just a fun time. It doesn't look like it looks spontaneous, like she just threw them on, I guess. Also, going back to the topic of the jacket, I didn't draw it or anything. It's just like something I wanted to mention because like there is a line between like male gaze and like this character is like brainwashed by this dude who like owns her. I don't know. There's a difference between like writing a bad thing happening and like writing that and then like endorsing that or like sexualizing it the way it kind of does. I also slightly changed the color of the pink in her hair. I made it just a little more red. I also desaturated the colors a little just so it looks a little more faded and like not quite so perfect, I guess. And the makeup I did like a lot more dramatic and like it's like running down her face. It looks more like a creepy clown than just like, ooh, a little bit of like pink smear outside the edge of her eyes. All pretty and like kind of perfect, but like not really. I don't know. I just feel like a deliberately like done like creepy clown makeup look is something that she would do, and it looks rad as heck, I think. Um, yeah, I think yeah, just the makeup look in the movie is like a little subtle for my tastes. I don't know. So yeah, this is the finished design. I really like it. I feel like I'm like there's details that I'm forgetting to mention, but like whatever. You get the gist, right? So yeah, the end.